Government cannot keep breaking that law and then expect the others to obey the laws. So if you break that law, if we have given you a ceiling of a certain amount and passed it in the form of a law, then stick to those limits. The moment a government decides to break the law and spend beyond what they did, like what happened in 2012, and it's possible may happen in 2013, then I think that we have a big problem.
The concern over the ballooning deficit was, however, not restricted to members of the minority.
I expected the Minister of Finance to tackle that area, and I expected him to still downgrade at least the deficit. I don't know whether this year we'll be able to achieve the target of the 9% deficit that was set up. If we are, that would be very good, so that by next year we should move around 7 to 6%, which is normal of the budget deficit. But the 12% budget deficit was really, I can't remember the spillover of this is what we are feeling the effect right now. I mean, if we want to be sincere to ourselves.
The minority, according to Dominic Nitiwu, also intends to raise findings contained in the JIDA report.
For the last 12 months, or will I even say 10 months, there have been serious issues with JIDA. We want to be looking at what resources government is putting and where they are putting those resources. Are the resources geared towards something that will help the people of Ghana, or they are geared towards areas where individuals can siphon money into their pockets? That is to turn state money into private pockets. We'll be looking at some of these things.
The majority leader, in his reaction, however, urged the minority to exercise restraint and first hear what is contained in the budget.
You don't start with an assumption that even a budget that has not yet been come to Parliament is bad. And so you must do something against it to show that you are working as a Parliament. You have not seen it yet. So if you already have a mindset, then you must criticize when you have not seen what is there. If you listen to the VAT debate, did you know who was majority and who was minority? We engage the issues as it should be. That is how these debates should be. But we are all coming with our arsenals. Oh, we're going to defeat this budget this year. You've not seen the budget. You say, oh, we won't agree. This budget will pass through. At the end, there's no debate. The merits of what people say is no more important. You'll be rushing through voting. But we as Parliament have to also be broad-minded.
Meanwhile, the House has completed the consideration of the VAT 2013 bill and is expected it will be passed on Friday, November 15. Emmanuel Lante, reporting for Joy News.
And if you've been eager to see a completion of the Polo ground Spintex Road bypass behind the Accra Mall, you may probably have to wait a while longer, as tried as we could, we've been unable to get an answer as to when it will be completed. The road was originally supposed to have been completed early 2011, 10 months after the late President Mills cut short for work to begin in March 2010. Though the resident engineer is unable to state exactly when the road will be completed, he says it is 80% done. Adelatha has more.
I had the privilege of cutting the source to begin the project.
Late President Mills cut short for work to begin on the bypass as a way of addressing the heavy vehicular congestion encountered by residents living off the Spintex Road and beyond, especially during rush hour. The resident engineer who took me for the site inspection, however, says a lot has changed with the modification of the original design.
The road starts from Sakumono all the way to the Elwak intersection with the airport bypass. So currently what we've done is we've done asphalt overlay. First of all, we have to strengthen the main Spintex Road. We have to construct some drains at certain places. For example, if you get to Kotobabi Junction, it used to be a single lane. We had to expand the road, dualize it up to a point, introduce some traffic signals. Then we had to start from Polo end, dualize it all the way to Action and beyond up to Flowerport Junction. We are going to pave the whole median. We are not going to grass it because we noticed that green grass, people will just be walking on it. So we started paving the median and we are creating walkways along the road.
But the project is still behind schedule, even going by the timeline for the new design. Kweku Chega explains why, but could not say when it will be completed.
We've done about 80%. Now we are out from the danger place. You can see water still coming from the ground. If you go further, you see it. There's still water coming. So we need to excavate all this thing again. First of all, we did boulders. We realized that the water is still coming. So we are going to treat it and then put in French drains. These are underground drains that you don't see, that the water table rises up to a point and then collects the water onto the underground storm drain that we've created. There's a new railway bridge that we've constructed. What you see over there is a railway bridge. It wasn't there, but currently the train is still working.
The road, however, promises to significantly ease the daily grind of those who ply the route upon completion, and the contractor Usuya Ghana Limited can be seen on site working on the dual carriageway. One of the highlights of the new design is the isolation of the traffic that tends to build around the Accra Mall. The Polo Spintex bypass extends to the motorway where this reservoir, which used to be the main reservoir for the Accra Mall, has been demolished to make way for the construction. Contractors have also constructed this exit from the motorway right at the beginning of the motorway, so that when you're coming from Achimota or Legon and you are heading towards Spintex, you don't necessarily have to go through the runabout at the mall. You just head towards the motorway. At the beginning, you exit through Casa Trazako to the Spintex runabout, and then you are on your way. Meanwhile, motorists have already started using the road, even though it is yet to be completed, though they are being advised to drive within the recommended city speed limit of 50 kilometers per hour. From the asphalt and paved medians to side drains, runabout and solar-powered street lights, we surely will be expecting a beautifully constructed bypass that meets the safety needs of motorists.
Former President Jerry John Rawlings has paid tribute to the late Harry Osei for his anti-corruption credentials. Addressing the family of the departed statesman when he went to pay his condolences, he decried the level of corruption and hoped something drastic would be done about the situation.
The former president, Jerry John Rawlings, Thursday afternoon visited the bereaved family of Harry Osei 7 days after his demise.
What I have to say for another occasion. Harry Osei's story goes way back. In terms of hearing of him, I heard about him from the Achampong time, when they were also leading demonstrations against some of the corrupt activities that were going on. Therefore, it shouldn't have come as any surprise when, in the 80s, we brought him on board to help in the various sectors of our development program. He, pretty much like Justice Annan, has been a man who didn't hesitate to share his wisdom, his concerns about things, and has truly been one of the stabilizing personalities.
Called on the Mahama-led administration to speed up action in fighting corruption in the country.
I sincerely hope that we will be able to restore some sanity, some semblance of sanity in the not too long future. And I say that because I don't think people like Harry and others should be seen to have wasted their lives playing the role they played for this country, in the restoration of values, only for things to end up happening the way they've been happening since we left office.
After sharing his fondest memories of the late Harry Osei with the bereaved family, he also signed the Book of Condolence. Veteran politician Harry Osei died on Friday, November 8, 2013. Harry Osei was Education Minister under President Jerry John Rawlings, and later in 2010 made member of the ruling NDC's Council of Elders. Harry Osei was decorated by President John Atta Mills with the highest state honor. He was a chartered surveyor with many years of successful practice and one of the most revered statesmen both within the Ghanaian political class and the Ghana state. He once served on the Council of State at Onamse. Joy News.
The state has begun an inquest into the private accounts of sacked Deputy Communications Minister Victoria Hammer. A letter written by the Financial Intelligence Center and signed by its CEO, Samuel Thompson Estelle, stated, among other things, that the former Deputy Minister is under, quote, security notice. Dated November 13, 2013, the letter, a copy of which is in the possession of Asempa FM, said the inquest is in pursuant of Section 28 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2008 at 749. Victoria Hammer was sacked last week, Friday, after the content of a leaked tape went viral. She was heard, among other things, nursing the hope of making $1 million in politics. To add to her woes, the status rating to all banks in Ghana, requesting for information relating to the private accounts. The FIC letter, copied to all financial institutions in the country, requests, among others, the following information on the former government official: mandates and account opening forms, evidence of know your customer or KYC and customer due diligence, legible copy of the photo identity, and all transaction statements or bank investment statements. The banks have been directed to respond by close of day, Friday, November 15, 2013. In other news, members of Parliament have paid tribute to the late former Vice President Alhaji Aliyu Mahama. Members from both sides of the House took to the floor to acknowledge his legacy.
I came to know him as a Democrat, patriot, moderate and loyal person. He was passionate about the growth and development of this nation. He preached religious tolerance in churches where he quoted from the Bible and the Quran. His respect for culture and tradition was admirable. Mr. Do the Right Thing paid his dues.
Mr. Speaker, the former Vice President left a legacy, the legacy of discipline. Speaker, we are told that he was very time conscious, that any time he had an occasion, he was always on time to deliver his message. I'm a politician, I love it. And I love politics. And Aliyu Mahama loved politics. But people did not associate him so much with it because of what we expect maybe how politicians should behave. If you are not very noisy and so partisan, then maybe you are not politician enough.
I remember that at that time, he was not only buying us football, he was also instrumental in ensuring that the Real Tamale United, which I love so much, unfortunately, which is now out of the Premier League, was tremendously supported by His Excellency Alhaji Aliyu Mahama.
A research published in the Ghana Policy Journal suggests maize farmers can lose up to 41% of the yields by 2050 due to the unpredictability of weather patterns. The journal, which was launched by the IEA, contains 5 research papers on the negative implications of climate change on agriculture and how governments can mitigate these effects.
The study, conducted in Tamale and Ejura, assessed the development of maize crops in rising temperatures, increased carbon dioxide, soil properties, as well as farm practices. The study suggests adopting the use of maize varieties that are tolerant to heat and drought will help minimize the losses that may arise.
What they find at the end of the exercise is that climate change will result in a reduction of the grain yield of maize by between 19 to 41%. So the most pessimistic forecast is that it will be about 90%, but I think it depends on several variables, but it could range as high as 41%. So that's the grain itself. Now the biomass which is the other parts of the maize plant, will also decline by 11 to 33%. Now, biomass is very important because it's used as crop residue, and in some places they use the biomass also to produce fuel. So that will also decrease by between 11 to 33%.
Since majority of smallholder farmers depend on rain, they tend to record low yields when the rains fail.
What this paper does is they review the current trends in climate and agriculture in Ghana. Within the wet season, they are observing some dry periods. Obviously, these changes will adversely affect crop productivity. And the reason why this occurs is that farmers think that the rains are going to start at a certain period of time, so they sow the seeds. Now, once they sow the seeds, if there's a delay in the rains, it means that the seeds will decline in terms of the viability of the seeds. We need to invest in irrigation because that's one of the solutions to the variability in the rains. If there's a source of irrigation, that can guarantee water throughout the growing season.
According to Professor Asafo Ajayi, the journal is to guide the formulation of relevant policies that will improve and sustain Ghana's food production capacity. Since Ghana lies within the tropical zone, it is projected it will be most vulnerable to extreme weather changes as a result of climate change. Government is therefore being encouraged to support agricultural research and also invest in weather forecasting.
The headcount of staff on the payroll of the Kalibo Teaching Hospital has revealed there could be as many as 1,052 ghost workers drawing salaries. Another 490 could not be accounted for. The audit was prompted after recent protests from some newly employed nurses that they had not been paid for the nearly 2 years they've been working at the hospital.
Salaries of staff of the Kalibo Teaching Hospital have always been on the government of Ghana payroll, but had to be internally sourced after government mandated the hospital to explore internally generated funds as a result of pay disputes. The board, hospital management and the Ministry of Health became concerned when more than 30 nurses did not pick up their checks. Acting Chief Executive of Kalibo, Reverend Albert Botwe, explains the findings of the head count.
A total of 4,252 staff of the hospital are on the GOG payroll, while 347 are on our IGF payroll. For the newly employed nurses, there were a total of 423. In total, we have 5,022 staff on the payroll of Kalibo Teaching Hospital. Out of the 4,252 staff on the GOG payroll, only 2,752 personally appeared and checked their names during the head count exercise. An alarming 1,052 number of staff did not present themselves to be counted.
The hospital, however, says systems have been put in place to make sure this does not repeat itself.
More than just the human dimension in relation to monitoring staff movements. And that's why this e-payroll system is being used. We have plans to install the clocking system that will also serve as an additional check on who is actually present.
There are inherent lapses in the overall payroll system at Kalibo. What is worthy of note, however, is that the ghost names will not be possible without collusion with departmental heads. It will take more than an electronic payroll system to end the rot in government institutions. It will take a concerted effort among all stakeholders. For Joy News, Marian Ture reporting.
There appears to be no end in sight to the current challenges facing students of the Senior High Technical School and the Demonstration School for the Deaf at Manpea in the Eastern Region. The school's authorities say they have still not received any response to the letter written to the Regional Ghana Highway Authority to address the road safety challenge there.
Gad Ewuku, a teacher at the School for the Deaf, was involved in an accident a month ago on the Manpea Highway near the School for the Deaf with his 3-year-old son who died on the spot.
He's saying that after the accident, he has not been feeling well. He has been feeling very bad, especially when he remembers the son that died during the accident. He's a very lively child that always creates fun in the house.
Even though he tells me he's been to the classroom for about a week now, just to assist, he has had to close early.
Since the accident, he has not been coming to school. Just this week that I come to school just to help those people there for about 1 hour or 2, and then he goes back to the house since he cannot do any strenuous work. He feels a lot of pain in the head, and then he has also experienced some kind of chest pain, and that is the problem he's facing now.
At the Ghana Education Service office at the Kuapem North, officials confirmed the Regional Highway Authority has been notified of the road safety challenge.
This and many of such incidents indeed call for speed ramps to be erected there. Letter came to us, and we have written a covering letter to the Ghana Highway, Kufurija precisely, to take action. And we expect that the regional manager would get back to us with a positive response.
The municipal director explains the problem is not one that can be solved with just speed ramps or rumble strips.
We'll be glad if the government would supply them a new bus. The former headmaster requested for one. So far, we haven't heard anything. But I think we can make the appeal again through this medium so that the government can look at the plight of the school and do something about the safety of these children. They indeed need a bus.
Although the director noted they are making frantic efforts to legalize some acres of land acquired by the school some years back, headmaster of the Senior High Technical revealed the lands have been taken back by the owners. Until a permanent solution is found to the plight of the students, however, commuting from dormitories to classrooms will remain a life-threatening venture.
Now, the popular phrase, "some jobs are for men only," no longer holds sway because women have proven too well that they are very capable of taking up typically male-dominated roles. Case in point is the following story about 2 middle-aged women who operate a grinding mill, also known as Nika Nika, at Buli in the Wa West district. As Rafiq Salam reports, these women are not stopping at just operating the mill, but have also acquired the mechanical skills to repair it when it breaks down.
Buli is located in the Wa West district of the Upper West region and is a predominantly farming community. It has a population of over 3,000 people whose homes are dispersed over vast swathes of land, giving the semblance of a ghost town, especially during the day while they are away on their farms. Here the 2 middle-aged women, Dutu Santona and Dongbini Preba, are the main millers in the town. Between them, these two, who have never seen the 4 walls of a classroom, depend entirely on the grinding mill, originally acquired by a women's group known as Bienlinye, with support from the business sector and advocacy fund, BUSAC. They tell the news team they were taught how to repair the machine in the event of a breakdown, a skill they have mastered to the admiration of their peers. Their challenge for now, they say, is having to switch over from shea nut to maize or millet for flour, a laborious process which could be avoided if they had a second mill. Tutio Santona explains an additional mill will also ease the pressure on the current one. The secretary for the Bienlenye Women's Group, a junior high school dropout, Dongbine Sadak, says any support that could be extended to the women would be greatly appreciated.
They face a lot of problems because when they work at the early morning, they always go there, clean the machine, bath, and let me say, clean all the rubbish and the machine parts. And they started working when it got stopped or when the machine stopped. They would then look for spans or tools to operate the other part and change the parts. And when they do that, they were tired. They will not work a lot, and the day has gone. So they are now begging if they can get help for any other NGO to help them so that when they get more about this, they will work hard and also achieve what they want to achieve.
Rafiq Salam's report from Buli in the Upper West region.
Hello there, welcome to Joy Business. I'm Abigail Adumakuenchi. Now, the Petroleum Commission is pushing for the urgent adoption of the legislative instrument on local content so Ghanaians can optimize the benefits from the law, especially with regards to the oil and gas sector. The Commission believes adoption of the LI currently before Parliament will force players in the sector to cede roles and contracts to indigents as stipulated by the law. Addressing participants at a workshop organized by the Petroleum Commission, Deputy Minister for Energy and Petroleum Benjamin Dagadu was also of the opinion the formation of joint ventures by local firms would put them in a better position to compete with their foreign counterparts. Matilda Nyakwa-Dines has more.
Though Ghana has been producing crude oil for a few years now, the sector is largely dominated by foreign players, with locals largely left out. Industry players believe the situation will remain the same for a while, as the country does not have the requisite manpower and capacity to take up roles and bid for major contracts. Government, however, believes legislation could be used to compel the mainly foreign contractors to involve a lot more Ghanaians. Thus, the pursuit of the LI to give legal backing to Section 3F, Act 81. The Petroleum Commission is of the opinion the adoption of the LI is taking too long.
We need to create local capacity because nobody cares about how many barrels of oil come from your soil. What matters is how many smart people you produce. When the law comes into effect, we as a regulatory authority, we are going to work harmoniously with the industries. But that should not be seen as a license for the industries to overlook the laws of Ghana. And we shall insist on the strict adherence to the laws, rules and regulations of Ghana as far as our oil and gas industry is concerned.
The Deputy Minister for Energy and Petroleum in the meantime believes local firms can position themselves in readiness for opportunities in the sector.
Ghanaians, we should try and learn how to form joint ventures. One company cannot make it work. So even the big companies, they are forming joint ventures. So we should also learn to form joint ventures to go into any operations competitively.
The LI, if properly enforced, will afford Ghanaians an opportunity not only to own stakes but assume some level of control in the sector.
Well, away from that, the Deputy Finance Minister Kasil Atufor has told Joy Business government is yet to establish the source of funding for the electricity tariff subsidy. Over the weekend, government announced it would absorb about 25% of the recent adjustments in electricity tariffs. This translates into a cost of 400 million Ghana cedis to the state. Government decided to subsidize the electricity tariffs after organized labor led by the Trades Union Congress TUC threatened nationwide strike over recent utility tariff hikes by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission PURC. Government has also admitted that its decision to absorb a fraction of the electricity tariff hikes might affect some ongoing infrastructure projects in the country. However, Mr. Atufor noted because government has already made a decision, it is important to carry through with it. He added that government will find a way by next week, even though a natural source of funding is currently elusive. He gave indication that details of how government intends to fund the subsidy would be reflected in the budget statement, which will be presented to Parliament next week. Some industry watchers have, however, criticized government's decision to subsidize the adjusted electricity tariffs. They say the move could lead to a gradual collapse of the utility companies and discourage investment from independent power producers. And that'll be all for business. I'm Abigail Adomaquentry.
Joy News Business was brought to you in association with
Lipton, inspiration flowing from nature.
Let's find out what's happening and really top of the agenda in the world of sports. We can talk about the Black Stars. We're warming up for that all-important game, and the five-man Ghana delegation have laid affairs of the Black Stars after they expressed satisfaction at security arrangements for next Tuesday's World Cup playoff return leg against Egypt. The delegation inspected the Air Defence Stadium in Cairo this afternoon, and we talk about the particular delegation that included President Kwesi Nyantakyi, President of the FA, and Abedi Pele, National Security Personnel, Alhaji Said Latte, FA spokesperson Sani Dara, and Ghana Ambassador to Egypt, His Excellency Alhaji Said Sinari. They inspected the facilities right there and have given the green light that we really can come over. The Black Stars were scheduled to arrive in Cairo on Monday, but would now arrive on Sunday with the current stable situation in the Egyptian capital. Meanwhile, the Egyptian team also kept on preparing, or they are preparing for this particular game, and they had a comfortable 2-0 win over Zambia in a friendly this evening at the Air Defence Stadium in Cairo. 2 goals in the first half from Amir Zaki and Rami Robert sealed the win for the Pharaohs. Now we switch to sport and talk about some boxing now. And President of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Loyal Peter Zwenes, has been appointed board member of the African Boxing Union. The honor was conferred on him at the 51st Council Convention in Thailand last week. Spokesperson of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Gifty Dodu, has been speaking to Joy Sports.
It was a success not only for WBC but also GBA Ghana as a whole. What we did was George Ashi was supposed to fight Daniel Estrada in the World Cup, but it has been postponed due to the illness of Hussein Sulaiman. So we saw that he was the first contender in the lightweight division, and George Ashi was on the 26th position. So we didn't understand. So GBA, the president, just confronted them, and he was moved to the 16th position. So we were able to move George Ashi from 26th position to the 16th position. And also WBC, they've set up a fund for world champions who have now retired and they are not in good standing, to help them. We were able to push DK Poison because he was the first champion in Ghana, and his standing, as we all know, is not good enough. So we were able to send his name through. That's Lawyer Peter Zwenes was able to do that. And we were told the first batch of lists have already been done, so he will be added to the second batch, which is a plus for Ghana. If we had not been there, we wouldn't have done that. And then the African Boxing Union, ABU, the president was also able to nominate the whole ABU, led by the president Hussein Hauchi, appointed President Lawyer Zwenes to come on board. So he's now a board member of the African Boxing Union. We did all this through the convention. So it was a success for not only WBC, but GBA as a whole.
Now we continue our build-up to Season 7 of the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament scheduled for 23rd November at the OAC Sports Stadium. And we turn attention to Vivo Energy. They have a lot of energy. Let's find out what they are doing and really what they intend to execute on the day.
To take over. This is the first time we are coming over to take over. We are going to dismantle everything that comes our way. That's it.
Watch out. You are talking about the star of 2004. You are talking about somebody who was the champion, University of Ghana. You are talking about people who are holding records. In fact, we are fired up.
I'm taking part in wrestling, 4x4. I'm the top striker of the team. And at the same time, I'm the coach.
But the training we've seen of him, clearly, some Real Madrid and Manchester United be poaching him. So I'm putting myself as the agent for him. I don't want any bad contract for him. So my MD is the winner. He's going to win after somebody will poach him. So I'm in charge. So if you want to talk to him, please come through me.
You know, I'm just wondering, some of the games the guys mentioned, I'm not sure it's
wrestling.
part of the invitation.
No, we'll think about it. You know, I mean, if we have somebody who wants to do wrestling, we might want to put in wrestling and boxing because he's fired up and all of that.
But who wants to wrestle with that guy?
Nobody, but I hope you're training because the hype is out there that you're going to be wearing the number 9 jersey for us. And so, okay, well, that'll be all for sports. Let's keep it here. More on the training ground. And he'll come back and join us with some international news then.
Sports was brought.
Now, fabrics have for decades been used for the design of beautiful clothing, especially for women who wear them to various functions. But it appears the latest craze where pieces of these local fabrics are joined together to make clothes has become the latest fashion trend. As Rebecca Darko reports, there's a seeming mad rush for the so-called asasa cloth by both men and women.
Fashion is dynamic yet seasonal, hence it is no surprise that every once in a while something considered old-fashioned pops up and becomes trendy again. So it is not exactly strange that today's cloth makers are taking inspiration from the past.
Formally, when we are talking about asasa, it means someone who is in poor condition and the person cannot afford money to buy clothes. So those ones, it can be an auntie, a sister, have them in small sizes, then they join together. But now, in terms of the fashion designers, they have introduced asasawa in a different style, and they have turned it into a fashion.
Asasa is no more for the poor people, okay? And I need to use a platform to change this perception. Asasa is no longer the use for poor people. It goes in for the rich, the poor. Everybody can put on asasa. If you really believe who you are, if you want to make your country proud, if you want to make yourself proud to be an African, just get asasa. That's what is making it now.
But it appears the origin of the asasa cloth does not really matter to the new generation of fashionistas.
Said it was for the poor those days, but now it's fashionable and it's nice. You can dress with it, go anywhere that you want. So it's like they all love it. For instance, today, everybody, there are so many people here today because of the patch. They like it, they love it, it's nice, and it's all right. The old things are coming these days, but we need to modify them. The way we are doing, we are modifying them, is nice.
The asasa craze appears to have extended into the media as television presenters are sometimes seen wearing clothes made from combined fabrics almost like the asasa. So we can say that the asasa is really here to stay, at least for the long haul. Demand for asasa clothing may be falling, but certainly not for other items like bags, shoes and purses made from the colorful combination. Well, now that may be the future of asasa.
That's it for Showbiz.
Showbiz was brought to you.
That's it for the bulletin. Before we go the quick run through our top stories, government says the 2014 budget will focus on reining in the budget deficit, growing the economy and meeting its commitments to infrastructure. Minority in Parliament cautioned government against overspending as it prepares to present the 2014 budget. Headcount of staff at Kalibo Hospital reveals the facility may have over 1,000 ghost workers on its payroll. Former President Rawlings pays tribute to the late Harry Osei with a call for some urgent action to curb corruption. And 2 women at Polo in the Upper West Region take on a role typically reserved for males to the admiration of their peers. That's it for the bulletin. My name is Israel. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com.